the Ottoman Empire, and the choice to enter World War I. In 1914, one signature doomed a 600-year-old empire. But what if I told you the man who signed it wasn't the Sultan, but a powerful minister who acted in secret, gambling everything on a single, fatal alliance? This wasn't a calculated risk. It was a coup that backfired spectacularly. The Ottoman Empire, once the sick man of Europe, saw World War I as a chance for rebirth. The ruling party, the Committee of Union and Progress, led by a triumvirate known as the Three Pashas Enver, Talat, and Gemal, believed an alliance with a European superpower was essential for survival. Their initial hope was to side with the Allied powers, Britain and France, who held significant financial and political influence over the empire. However, the Allies saw the Ottomans as a liability, not an asset, and repeatedly rebuffed their advances, viewing the empire's territories as spoils to be divided after the war. This rejection pushed the ambitious and deeply pro-German Enver Pasha to look elsewhere. Germany, eager for an ally to distract Russia and threaten British interests in the Suez Canal and India, welcomed the Ottomans with open arms. On August 2, 1914, Enver Pasha, acting largely on his own authority, and without the full consent of the Sultan or even the entire cabinet, signed a secret defensive pact with Germany. The empire was now tied to the Central Powers, but the decision was made in such haste and secrecy that most of the government was unaware of the monumental commitment they had just made. The single, clandestine act set the stage for a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. The gamble wasn't just on winning the war. It was a bet against centuries of Ottoman diplomacy, and it was a bet they were about to lose. The immediate outcome was chaos and division. The secret alliance with Germany threw the Ottoman government into turmoil. While Enver Pasha and his faction were eager to enter the war immediately, many in the government, including the Grand Vizier, were horrified. They understood that the empire's army was ill-equipped, its finances were in shambles, and its infrastructure was crumbling. They desperately tried to maintain neutrality, knowing that a war against the mighty British and Russian empires would be suicide. For months, a tense political balancing act played out in Istanbul. Then, two German warships, the Goeben and the Breslau, fleeing the British fleet in the Mediterranean, sought refuge in Ottoman waters. In a brilliant but treacherous move, Enver Pasha purchased the ships, renamed them, and integrated them into the Ottoman navy, still under German command. This act was a blatant provocation. In October 1914, under the command of a German admiral, but flying the Ottoman flag, these ships launched a surprise attack on Russian ports in the Black Sea. The twist was complete. Russia declared war, and Britain and France followed. The Ottoman Empire was dragged into a global conflict, not by a formal declaration of its sovereign, but by the rogue actions of a faction that had hijacked the state. The consequences were swift and brutal, far exceeding the worst fears of those who had argued for neutrality. The Ottoman Empire was now fighting a multi-front war it could not sustain. In the Caucasus, Enver Pasha's personal ambition led to a disastrous winter offensive against Russia, resulting in the annihilation of the Ottoman Third Army at the Battle of Sarikamish, where tens of thousands of soldiers froze to death. To the south, the British launched campaigns in Mesopotamia and Palestine, slowly chipping away at the empire's Arab territories and fueling an Arab revolt that shattered Ottoman authority in the region. The Dardanelles campaign, intended by the Allies to knock the Ottomans out of the war, became the bloody stalemate of Gallipoli. While a tactical victory for the Ottomans, it came at a horrific cost in human lives. The war bled the empire dry. Famine swept the land, infrastructure collapsed entirely, and internal dissent grew. The government's paranoia and nationalist fervor led to the systematic persecution and genocide of the Armenian population, a dark stain that forever marred the empire's final years. By 1918, the Ottoman armies were broken, its territories were occupied, and its government was forced to sign an armistice that amounted to an unconditional surrender. The once mighty empire, which had stretched from Vienna to the Persian Gulf, was reduced to a rump state, its fate now in the hands of the victorious Allies. The single, secret decision made by Enver Pasha had not saved the throne. It had burned the entire empire to the ground. If you want to uncover more stories of choices that shattered empires, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't believe what's coming next.